Today it occurred to me that I am okay. And so are you. I have been on a search for truth for so long, minus my 40s where I ignored it completely. But other than that, I have been on that search for so long that I overcomplicated it. So I just started rolling camera right now because I have no plan for this video other than to tell you that you are okay. You are really okay. And I've just realized that I'm okay. In the last couple of days, I've realized, oh my gosh, I'm okay. I don't know what your experience with spirituality has been like, but I was raised since birth in the Christian church here in America. And I only understand that flavor of Christianity. So I can only speak about my own experience. But in my experience in Christianity took the biblical texts and then interpreted them as this thing where God is this anthropomorphized being, not a human, but he's outside of everything. And yet it all gets its power from him. The idea that, I guess, in a simple way, I guess the universe runs on his power, but he's not in it. And then came, according to Christianity, then came Jesus. And because I believe in Jesus and I accept Jesus into my heart, like I did when I was 5 years old, and continued for years to rededicate my life to the pursuit of him, the whole idea is that he tore the veil and broke it down and made it so that we could all be with God, who still was not here, as far as my understanding of how the Christianity I was raised in understood it. He was outside of here, but the Holy Spirit was sent to live in us. And that's where the Trinity comes from, as far as I understand, again, my own understanding. God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The Son came to make it possible for the Holy Spirit to live in us and for God to redeem us, God the Father to redeem us. So I saw through that lens till about my mid-30s. And there was always a cognitive dissonance with it. And the truth of it is, I just never felt okay. I felt like I was dependent on this being, as I should be, because I worshiped him and I loved him. Supposedly he loved me, but I just felt like crap a lot. And I was like, why don't I feel his love all the time? Why can't I hang on to it when I finally find a way to discover his love? It seems to dissipate, and then I don't feel his love for a long period of time, and then I find it again, you know? So this, super long story short, this all led to me letting go of Christianity completely, and I threw the baby out with the bathwater. It was gone. I started to believe by the end of my 30s, after years of struggle, to become closer to God so that I could be with him more consistently, which I thought was what I was supposed to do. I spent most of my 40s, almost the entire decade, just believing this is it. This is it, what I see. That's all there is. But I knew it wasn't true. I just was so hurt by him not coming closer to me. The Bible says, draw near to God, he'll draw near to you. And I was doing that in a huge way for a few years, trying to draw closer. And I just felt him slipping farther and farther away until finally I believed, oh my gosh, he was never there. I was totally just delusional. I've had a relationship with this being since I was a kid that is not real. I'm not saying that to you now. I'm not trying to tell anybody who believes they've connected with God that they haven't. And in fact, I was wrong. I was connecting with him insofar as I would allow my mind to understand the depth of him or it, or you see where I'm going now. My spirituality has birthed something new since my journey back all of last year. I mean, I was hitting it hard last year because there was a splinter, as they say in the Matrix, like a splinter in your mind, a splinter in my mind during my whole life that this place is mysterious, and it really came up when I was in my early 20s. I remember the pyramids of Giza suddenly fascinated me. And yet I learned about them like in fourth grade or something, right? But it suddenly occurred to me, what are these things? And how did they get here? And I began to go down that rabbit hole. And, I didn't grow up with the internet, but at the time the internet was there. And I used to wait for pages to load that were nothing but text on my dial-up internet connection and read about these sorts of things. And it led me to the Nazca lines and the Mayans, all these kinds of things there are these interesting things we found that we don't know how to fully explain. So this place is mysterious. There's something to it. And I got back into spirituality in an accidental way because I'm interested in science, and all of the stuff we've learned in the last 5 years, especially with quantum physics, got my wheels turning. Because even back when I was a Christian, I used to say, what we consider supernatural, I really believe is natural. We just don't understand it. Meaning it's part of the fabric of the place that we are living in. Whether it's like ethereal or on a different plane or a different frequency, whatever the words you want to use to call it is, a lot of these things that we think are supernatural, I really think they're just part of the fabric of our entire existence. They're part of our reality, even though our five senses can't always understand it. So I don't know if that makes sense to anyone, but all to say, it has finally occurred to me, after 13, 14, 15 months of straight pursuit of finding a connection to spirit again or something like that, an answer to the question of what the hell's going on, I realize now how simple it is. And that's exactly what Jesus said. In the Bible, he says that it is simple. God says in the Bible, my yoke is easy, my burden is light. All of these things point to a life that in spirit is maybe not easy, but it's simple. And I've realized that I've been mucking it up trying to understand it all. Instead of, and I hate little tropes and things that catch on, bumper sticker phrases, but let go and let God. This is becoming true for me. I have found a faith by accident that is so much deeper than the faith I ever had in the God of Christianity. And that's not to say that I think what I believe now is better than Christianity or anything like that. I'm not trying to say that at all. I'm just trying to share with you what I've come to realize, and that is that we are okay. If you are someone who has been like me, and you have been searching and searching and searching, and you keep coming up against things that sort of make sense but sort of don't, and then the part that did make sense over here makes sense over here with this line of thought, but the other part that you thought made sense over here now is put into question. And we can easily just start getting a bunch of information, and the information clouds our mind. And I've realized this whole thing has nothing to do with information. Information can be helpful, it can be helpful, but sometimes it's a distraction. And I have finally come to the understanding that, for a while I got into the law of attraction and like the techniques and all this stuff, How can I control my reality, right? And why is being grateful so important? Why is having faith and knowing that you have it before then it will materialize? Why is that so important? Does our subconscious create reality? All these things. I think these are all ways of interacting with our world that help a person of a certain bent make some sense of it. But what I'm here to tell you is if you're a seeker and you've been really just going round and round, I did it for a lot of years, man. Even during my 10 years of absent-minded spirituality, it was still churning in there. And that's why I had to finally go at it again. but I was tired when I let go of God, and I was hurt. It took me years to work through that pain. But now I realize that I used to sit on the ground and my Bible in front of me, and I'd be crying, and I would point out verses to God when I felt like I was losing him. And I would say, you said, I'm crying, you would leave the 99 sheep to go find the lost one. I am that lost sheep. Where are you? Why won't you come for me? I thought you loved me. And I didn't know what that looked like, and I used to say that too. Well, what does it look like for him to come for me? Well, I'll tell you what, at that point in my life, it was going to be a lot more than a friend of mine calling me and saying, you're on my heart, what's going on? I'm going to need more than that. And I told God so. And I said, listen, I would look at other verses. Do not test the Lord your God. I'm not trying to test you. I'm trying to explain to you that I will not believe it is from you if it comes from some dude. I just won't. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if it means you got to just show up and appear to me. I don't know. I don't know what it looks like. But you're God. I'm not. So clearly you can do that for me, right? He never did. Never did. And it's because I had a basic misunderstanding of God. And so my higher self or eternal intelligence, whatever it might be, allowed me to lose that part of me, which it was a huge part of my identity. Being a Christian was the lens through which everything was experienced. And that lens needed to be lifted so that I could see what's really there. And all to say, I'm trying not to ramble. I'm trying to stay on topics when I find them. It's kind of dangerous just to run camera and start talking. I just wanted to tell you that you, like me, are okay, because all of us are okay. Another thing that I came to with gathering all this information is that I have been trying through the techniques in law of attraction or through more scripture reading or digging into other religions or really, really out there things like ancient teachings from this one prophet dude in like 1600, like crazy, just reading anything I could, trying to make sense of all this. It occurred to me yesterday, and then especially today, the one thing that is across all of these religious or spiritual practices, the one thing is that the deity, if it's a deity they're worshiping, or life itself, or the quantum field, that there is order and control going on. And we are within that, and we affect that. Whether it's through an outside force like I experienced in Christianity, where God isn't a part of me, but he brings the Holy Spirit, so now he is a part of me because he's a Trinity and all this stuff. This is all just a way of understanding the basic truth, which is it is in you. It is in you. All of it. It starts with you. That's been a phrase that's been on me for months. It starts with you. And the truth of it is, it starts and ends with you. That is why you are okay. You're okay. I'm not talking about experiences that you're having right now in your life. I'm not talking about that. Working a job you don't like or going through something really terrible and awful. We go through those things, and I'm not trying to address those things and be like, yeah, you're in the middle of this death of a loved one and you're okay. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that in this pursuit of being connected, and I'm sorry to use the Bible because it's just the script. It's the stuff I know the most because I was in it for so many years. But God says, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. He says, I know the cries of my children's heart before they ask for it. These are all ideas in connection to the energy of our world that I am realizing are true. And when God says in the Bible, but in many other texts, it is understood that there is no separation. There's no separation from God, intelligence, whatever it might be that you are seeking. That means you're okay. It is in you inherently. It is your birthright. It is who you are. You don't have to go out and find it. It is here, right now, in you. You are everything you desire to be. And if you want to see in front of you and experience physically with our senses the things that are inside of you, well, welcome to it, because that's what you're experiencing. And you're okay. You are okay. I hope I have made sense today. It's kind of dangerous to have no plan. I didn't even have an outline. One thing's for sure, no matter who you are, I love you. And I'm doing this for you. So I hope it finds you in a place that you can benefit from it. I hope that I can be of use to you. And I hope I've encouraged you today. Appreciate you watching. Thanks.